Yes, we'll be introducing next segment. Now we are getting more practical and already focusing on engagement opportunities through procurement. So I will be inviting on stage Martin Blaus, Head of Procurement of RB Rail, joint venture of Rail Baltica, who will give an overview of general procurement opportunities with RB Rail and will as well explain key principles of procurement in Rail Baltica global project. So again, without further ado, Martin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to participate in this event and provide you with information on procurement plan of 2024. But not only, I will provide you with the information as well about the changes in the policies and standards of the project, current state of existing procurement exercises, and of course opportunities, and as usual we provide information on where and how to apply for our procurements. So then I will begin with one of the activities that we did recently, beginning of this year, and it was a review of the existing procurement standards and guidelines. The document which is overarching policy sort of type of document, which are same time guidelines, and includes minimum set of requirements which project follows when apply procurement procedures. So to meet the existing needs of the project, considering the phasing and status, and when the project has rapidly moved into active procurement phase, active construction phase, we established that we need to review procedures to make policy more flexible, more friendly, and more so that we can more swiftly move with the required management items. So we mainly did introduce two main changes. One of the changes is related with administration, and the other is related to the minimum set of requirements, because not only requirements of the project has to be mirrored in the policies and standards, but as well the market situation. Since the market situation has changed, therefore minimum set of requirements has been as well altered and reduced where it was deemed necessary. And as well, in parallel, of course, we have prepared for next future changes considering the rapid construction procurement activities. Therefore, we have established as well the platform where such changes and this overarching global project common procurement standards and guidelines documents can be introduced and applied. Then moving further with the yes, I'm kind of skipping slides. You see, yes, on this slide you see that the policy document, Common Procurement Standards and Guidelines, is published on our webpage and is available in our webpage under the section Procurements. So moving further with the ongoing activities. So before this presentation, we have received, of course, a couple of questions which are very obvious that the market is interested in the main activities of the procurement currently, which are where the joint venture RB Rail is in charge of. So and these are consolidated materials. So these procurements are very lengthy. They have been begun a couple of already years ago with the initial activities related to these supply contracts, and the interest from the market was where we stand currently. So very briefly I will list through the items. So with the underground cable isolation materials, we are close to contract signing. The results were as already announced last year, So there are things technical, contract-wise, which we need to consider, since that was the first contract from the consolidated material supply agreement scope. So it kind of takes a little longer. So, but the next activities such as rails, sleepers, and turnouts and ballast are now in the final negotiation phases. So negotiations with the manufacturers, and soon to be completed this year. So all of the consolidated materials are planned to be contract signed more or later, but until end of this year. So as well, the main ongoing activities, one of the main ongoing activities still are design contracts, which we have, one in Latvia and 3 items in Lithuania. And these to be as well finalized, concluded this year, and with the contract signed as well. So, of course, it's very important to mention that we have as well control, command, and signaling subsystem procurement currently with the status of second stage launched, and this one we believe we will manage to finalize and with the contract signed beginning of next year. Overall, the weight of existing procurement activities currently we have, it's approximately close to 3 billion euros. So quite extensive, quite challenging. Therefore, we can move to the next slides with the opportunities which we are open still, because these ones which were currently ongoing, these to be closed, since the project moves from the stage of design and planning to the construction phase. And I need to introduce as well with that construction procurements, these are you will be here later on, because these procurements are in a responsibility of implementing bodies. So and that is as well evident in 2024 procurement plan, that for this year we have 39 openings for the opportunities for the market suppliers, and overall weight and the value of our procurement plan this year is approximately 10 million euros. So it's quite less, since the activities related to global project implementation, as they were split by the contracting scheme, are more or less moving to closure, and now we are stepping into phase where we are entering into activities which shall be more related to support measures of the construction works and global project needs. So we have 2 groups currently in procurement plan from those 39 items. The first one is the organizational procurement administration items, which are usually vital services for operations of the joint venture as regular, and then project activities, and very important vital implementation support measures, which are such as framework contracts for the legal services, expert services, different sort of expert services, and then as well transport economics feasibility studies. These are all related to the global project implementation. And as well as we listed in previous slides, that we are closing and signing contracts for the consolidated materials. Of course, we will need laboratories and testings of the materials, which will be delivered at the site eventually. Okay, and let's now look into estimated timeline of the Rail Baltica procurement exercises. And as we see, so it's it is quite challenging looking from the perspective of the timeline at this current moment. We have already launched a couple of procurements in the Q1 of this year, but you will need to then open and check the RB Rail or Rail Baltica, web page and check the status of those. But here on this slide, I have the possibilities and openings that you can familiarize yourself, and these will be announced shortly. And please do follow up. So out of these, I would underline and mention that we are coming close to finalization, coming close to finishing existing contract for expert services, which is vital procurement for implementation support activities. We will be launching this one, so companies which are in consultancy and engineering services and financial and different sort of related to railway technical and other matters, please stay tuned. As well, legal law firms, we will be launching this year as well legal framework for different legal services contract. And of course, coming closer to the end of the year, we will see openings of system integration services and transport modeling and transport trends procurement exercises. So, but all this information is now currently it's published. It's available in our webpage, and you can familiarize yourself with the procurement plan. As well, with the procurement plans of implementing bodies, the information should be at some point available now in the web page, but follow up. There will be updates coming shortly as well. And which is as well very important to mention for newcomers as the suppliers to our project, it's how to apply our procurements. So first of all, stop of information is Rail Baltica webpage, railbaltica.org, section procurements. There is a procurement plan available. There is as well guidance of how to apply to e-tender system. There is the document of common procedure standards and guidelines available. Please get familiar with the information there. Follow the guidance, and not less important is to note that you have to be registered because joint venture RB Rail uses the state provided system of e-tender. Therefore, worth to mention, registration there is for free. So if you have any questions, please address to RB Rail, procurements at railbaltica.org, and we will be glad to provide you guidance how to apply. So more or less, this is all from the perspective of procurement plan today.
Yes, thank you, Martin, so much. We do have a couple of questions. A couple of them you actually covered, and some I think it's worth repeating because it's mentioned quite frequently, both through those who registered before the event, and also now we are seeing a Slido question. So what is the status with electrification and control command and signaling procurements, which we know are one of the largest procurements that we are in charge of?
This is one of the big procurements currently ongoing. Procurement Commission is working, that I can assure. As much information that I can provide you with is that currently the procurement is in the negotiation phase. So very detailed I'm not permitted to reveal to the public, but it is planned that the negotiations will finalize end of the summer, and we will move to contract selection of the winner and contract signing process this year.
Okay, thank you. I hope the question was answered as possible. So the next question is related to consolidated procurement. Will the contractors of mainline be obliged to purchase materials, rail sleepers, turnouts under the consolidated procurement carried out by RB Rail?
It is a very specific question. There has been a lot of information floating in the market in the general public about application of the consolidated material framework agreements in this project. So from the tasks given according to contracting scheme, joint venture does and procure framework agreements for the supply of the materials. Implementation strategy of the project foresees that these materials shall be supplied where the economic benefit is evident. Therefore, it is a matter of each of the implementing organization and their agreement with the contractor how they implement this sourcing of the consolidation of the superstructure construction materials. So it needs, I cannot provide like full strategical final decision at this event, but I would say to address with the implementation organization this question, since they're in charge of the construction contracts.
Thank you. And then there's a question, we do receive it quite often. I believe there are other institutions who have to comment. So the question on how do we envisage the procurement of rolling stock?
Yes, and this is as well. Very good questions coming from Slido, I believe. So procurement of rolling stock, it's nothing. It's no surprise that to obtain rolling stock in railway sector, it is lengthy process. Therefore, if we speak about operations around the year 2030, so it means that these procurement activities has to take place very soon, I would say. So the decisions and questions who will be legal entity of sourcing, this is another separate matter, most probably not so relevant. But for the market, I would say that you should expect activities related to sourcing of rolling stock, at least the market analysis and examining the possibilities and prices shall begin very soon, very soon.
Thank you. And then there is a question, I think this is the last question for this session. Is it possible to give preliminary information about upcoming tenders that would help to prepare and search for partners? I believe this is not the procurement plan, but more insights on the scope of the tenders.
Yes, at this point, well, if you think that on the scope, so first of all, we have procurement plan published. So this is initial point of information. So I believe then if there is an interest, there are several ways. One is that you apply to our newsletter list, right? So you will obtain information whenever procurement will be announced. So you will not miss it. Second thing is if you have interest in one or another procurement coming this year, so please contact us and ask your questions. So where we will be able, we'll provide with the preliminary scope. But another very important channel is that we do organize briefings for the procurement activities way before procurement is announced, where we are kind of preparing and finalizing technical specification, and we are as well addressing market to find out what we are looking at from the participation side, availability, capacity of the market, and what will be the structure of our supplier, either with the subcontractors or the companies can deliver full scope of the services by themselves. So these are questions that we are addressing in market consultations and market analysis. So if you have interest on any particular procurement, please contact us. We will definitely use your information to establish the strategy of putting in place such services or goods. Yes.
Thank you. So I will be saying thank you once again, Martin Blaus, Head of Procurement at RB Rail. Martin, thank you for the session. We are closing up the global project updates and we'll be moving on to country-specific updates.